Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface on the live servers for Warlords of Draenor, back in Blackrock Foundry with another raid boss fight. We're going to be looking at the last Flamebender, GRAZ, and she's actually brought a friend with her, Aknor Steelbringer. Now, if you were to defeat her without killing Aknor, you would actually get him as a follower for your garrison, but that's not why we're here today. We're just here to try and knock her out. She actually holds the tier 17 chess piece token, so it would be nice to get the kill. Now, what basic abilities does she do? Because she has something else quite special, which I'll explain shortly. Well, first of all, she deals that lava slash. It'll hit you for 67k damage, and all targets as well within 7 yards of impact, which is a bit nasty. And if you decide to stand on the fire afterwards, then you'll be hit for a further 30k damage. Also, if you're within 6 yards of the targeted person, it will actually chain to you as well. You notice how some of the lines have little jutting out pieces. That's because somebody was stood too close. That's why we have the radar here on DBM. Try and stay away from players within that 6 yard radius. She'll also summon some enchanted armaments into the fight. Those are the blades which you can see spinning around, and every 3 seconds they'll do that attack. If you're within 6 yards of it, you'll get struck for 62.5k damage. Now, Aknor, we absolutely destroyed at the beginning of the fight. With 17 members of the raid, he only had about 4.2 million health, so he didn't stay up for particularly long. But he has a couple of abilities. Number one, he'll do a devastating slam, which will deal 187.5k damage in a 15-yard frontal cone to anyone that's there, so don't get caught in that. He'll also do something called drop the hammer, which he'll leap over to a member of the raid, dealing 83k damage, and also 83k damage to anyone within 10 yards of them as well. So the achievement's probably going to be quite tricky, because he actually does batter out a fair wad of damage. But as I mentioned, the last Flamebender here has some very interesting abilities. She will actually gain molten energy as the fight goes on. And depending on whether she hits 25, 50, 75 and 100 molten energy, it will actually give her an ability. So she's just starting from scratch again. Let's look at what she does. Well, when she hits 25 molten energy, she will do something called Molten Torrent. And that's where you saw that big circle around a player. A meteor will be fired in 6 seconds after that circle appears, and it will deal a staggering 756k damage, but it's spread amongst everybody who gets inside that circle. So it's going to pop on somebody, get inside of it, get as many people inside, spread that damage amongst everybody. I was just a little bit too late myself to join in, but there were plenty to get it spread across quite a few people. When she hits 50 molten energy, she will then do her Cinder Wolves. They will get summoned into the fight. Now, the Cinder Wolves are pretty interesting. Firstly, they will actually fixate onto a target for 10 seconds. And you really just need to run away from them. They're not moving particularly quickly at all, so you can just negotiate. What we did is we put this marker, this green marker. So if you do get targeted with the fixate like I have, just start to move around the marker, because you don't want people getting hit with that fiery link that's between them, because if you do, you'll take 10k damage per second for 8 seconds, and it'll stack, so you do not want to touch that link between them. When the fixator's finished, the wolves will actually change positions. So the one that was fixating and walking will run to where the big one is, and the big one will go small and become the fixatable one. So you need to have the tank on the big one, and the small one you just kite around. You need to kill them both at the same time, because if you don't, one of them that's dead will start to cast Rekindle. If it manages to successfully get the Rekindle off, it'll just come back at full health. So make sure both wolves die at the same time. And also, they do the overheated ability. This is the big one that the tank has, where it increases its movement speed by 150% and also its damage by 50% for 20 seconds. It also does something called Charring Breath, which hits for 41k damage in a frontal cone, dealing 200% more damage if it hits again, and it stacks. So you really need to defeat the Cinder Wolves as quickly as possible. You don't want your tank taking multiple charring breaths whatsoever. At 75 energy, she will start to deal Blazing Radiance, where people will get targeted. They just have to move away from the rest of the raid, as you'll be pulsing damage 33k every 2 seconds to everybody within 10 yards. It's pretty easy just to shift away from people. And at 100 molten energy, she will deal Firestorm, which everybody takes 16k every half a second for 12 seconds. And if any Cinder Wolves are still alive, they'll also deal 16k damage every half a second as well. That's why it's so important to kill the Cinder Wolves so quickly. She'll also do a Magma Monsoon at the same time, where you've got all these magma balls that are above her head, and they come firing into the fight. You'll get them telegraphed as there's a small orange pool on the ground before it smashes in. If it does hit you, then it'll deal 87k damage to all players within 3 yards of impact. So again, stuff to be avoided. And she'll finally do Rising Flames, where she consumes all of the molten energy, taking it back to 0, and will deal 9k damage every second for 8 seconds, and it will stack. So obviously the tanks are going to be taking the brunt of that, so they've got to be a wee bit careful. But deal with all of that, et voila, you'll get yourself the kill. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe to my channel. Follow me on social media, as well as twitch.tv for live streaming. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Bye-bye.